There has been some things that's been happening to me, and I wanted to share it with you. There's a quote in the Bible that Jesus says, He says, "But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and prosecute you." This is in Matthew. I believe it's Matthew 5, verse 44. So, I have been going through something like this within the last week, and I wanted to share it with you what happened when I actually did what He said. He says to us, Jesus tells us to love our enemies. Now, when you have an argument or fight with somebody, you don't really think of them as being your enemy, but you feel that way. And you feel that they have wronged you or prosecuted you, and what the first thing you want to do is to justify yourself and try to tell them how wrong they are and how right you are, or trying to tell the truth out because they need to know the truth and this is really important and they don't understand you, and especially if it's like your friends. And I just recently had a friend of mine that I had a disagreement with, and it was almost a type of argument that ends friendships. But I thought about this quote, and also that there's two commandments that the Lord tells us. Is one is that to love Him, love the Lord with all our heart, mind, soul, strength. And the other is to love thy neighbor as thyself. And that's one of the greater commandments, He says. Jesus says. So I thought about that, and I didn't like the feeling that I was having in my heart. And I realized, number one, forgiveness, as He tells us to forgive others. But I also realized that being upset at my friend for misunderstanding and accusing and all this doesn't solve the problem. I also realized that I need to forgive. But all in all, to not just forgive, but to love. So how do you love someone that is prosecuting you and is saying things about you that's not true? And you get upset about it, thinking this is not right. I don't want to be around somebody that said this about me or that about me or whatever. And that's what the enemy wants. The enemy wants you fighting. The enemy wants that. He wants you to be fighting with your friends and loved ones. He wants you to be upset at them, because those energies are what breaks people apart and what pulls people apart. And that's what he wants. So, he's not winning here. Jesus wins. Jesus is, his instructions is to love one another. So what happens when we see each other as God's children instead of the enemy that we think we're upset with or we want to fight with? And we see each other as his children, and we see him in each other. And when we see Jesus in each other, Jesus' love in each other, and focus on that instead of focusing on how mad or angry or upset we are at each other, and we react with love instead of reacting with anger, it solves problems. That light of love not only changes you, but it also changes them. Darkness cannot fight in the light. And that's where I want to be. And I wanted to share that with you. That if you're arguing, or you're bickering, and you're angry, and you've been disappointed, and you've been hurt by your friends and family or people, like even road rage. Down the street, somebody cuts you off, and you think to yourself, how can they do that? And you want to race up your car and race up to them and, cut them off just to prove a point. Ask yourself, what if they're rushing themselves to the hospital? Or what if they are mentally ill and they don't know what they're doing? Or they're having a stroke and they're trying to get to somewhere where, they're not an ambulance, but they're trying to get to a hospital or somewhere to help them. So you never know. So the reactions, we immediately think something is wrong, is bad, and these people are terrible or whatever, and immediately we think terrible and bad. And if we step back and just respond in love, you never know. You could be saving someone's life. That love that comes through heals, binds the connection of the love that you have with Father and the love that He has with you. It furthers it. And, reacting and responding in love is far greater than justifying yourself or trying to make sure that you got your point across. Because at the end, it's all about love, and it's all about God and Jesus. That's what it's about. God bless you. That was my message. If you have any comments or you want to talk about this, I would love to hear from you. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.